Yeah, thank you for the presentation and all the work on this effort. I know it's this is our third. Is this the third year? Is that right, or is this the fourth year? Thank you for yeah. To that point, right? It's been a lot, and this watershed has been through a lot, and the drought has had did have and continues to have significant impacts on the fisheries health. And so that's not lost on me, and I think that's why we're here today to talk about that and to be ready for the year that comes ahead here as we watch. I know we had an item just a little bit ago on hydrologic conditions updates, and we saw a map that showed the precipitation, the rainfall and the snowpack in the northern part of the state, and it has been a better year so far than we saw in the initial years of this emergency regulation. And so that's promising, encouraging. I think we all hope for a wetter year, and I think that would make it easier on everyone. I think it'll make it easier on the fisheries as well as the water users in the watershed, because certainly they've been impacted by this as well. And so I was just on that, I appreciate the detailed updates on the fisheries and the state and what we know, especially with the changes in the Klamath, and the watershed's going through a lot of changes now, and time will tell what those impacts will be. Hopefully, very beneficial to the fish. But I'm reacting a little bit to the slide on the fiscal impacts to water users, and I wasn't actually at the October board meeting where there was a board resolution adopted to take steps forward on the long-term science work and potential next steps in the watershed. But I was just wondering, I appreciate the dollars estimates, and I know it's difficult to quantify the impacts to water users, but I mean, this estimate focuses on impacts to state and local agencies and the water suppliers themselves, but doesn't really get into the impacts as directly to agriculture itself. So I was wondering, could you just sort of share a little bit more about what we know there, because this is the fourth year going into this, and it's not lost on me that every year that we have curtailments, that we run into this situation, there are impacts to agriculture and to the water users. And so for me, just understanding that balance and understanding those trade-offs that we're making is helpful to this process.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing the slide back up. I do think it is helpful in noting that third bullet under estimated costs is something that's not required by the emergency reg process, but something that has been added, I think, a couple EREG events previous to this one at the request of a board member, so that we could get a better handle on what the impacts might be to the local community. And so that third bullet is really us trying to figure out what the impact is on a more local scale as a result of the implementation of the regulations. It's not great. We welcome new information from parties, specific information on water supply and fiscal impacts that growers have experienced in these communities. We haven't gotten specific information, but we do welcome that. Also, I want to note, as part of the longer term process in the October 16th resolution, there is direction for a broader economic analysis, and that would include impacts to the agricultural community as well as the fisheries community, but digging in a lot deeper than we're able to do with an emergency regulation in the time frame we have here.
I appreciate that. And I acknowledge that this is a quick decision that we have to make. And, it's not lost on me how significant this is and that we do need to be prepared for the year ahead. And just the acknowledgement that there's going to be continued work in this area. And for me, it helps to see these numbers and have some sort of estimate. But what I'm not able to tell from this is kind of, these are big numbers to me, certainly, but I don't really know how significant those are to the folks who rely on this as a way of life, right, and using this water. So it's kind of a order of magnitude, relative scale. It's hard to tell.
Right, and it is highly variable. I will note that the impact to some growers who already have best management practices in place may be less than those who are having to either fallow land or implement new efficiencies associated with their growing. And also pasture is, I think, impacted more so than like alfalfa and grain because of its water demand needs. So it is highly variable, I think, across both watersheds and with specific growers.